My name's Gaming for Bread, and this is a list of every mainline Mario game that I've played. Now, the reason Mario Galaxy is missing is because I just haven't played it yet. On with the tier list. So Mario Bros. Is definitely bottom tier as a Mario game, since it has Mario in the title. It was just made to eat up all your quarters, and I, of course, haven't had experience with the arcade version, just the NES version, and it's just not that fun. It's bland. It's the same level over and over again. Maybe a bonus level here and there, but it's like all the same enemies and the same level, just different variations of it. Next up is Super Mario Bros., which is definitely B tier. It's just a fun game. It's simple. It's easy to get into. Maybe the physics are a little weird at first, but it's definitely, a Mario game. The only thing that sucks about it is not being able to go back and level, and it's just a simple game. It's a fun experience. So next up is the Lost Levels, and I like to think of this game as the back end of this game. World 9 through I think B24, since there's 12 worlds in the Lost Levels. Technically with A, B, C, and D. I don't know if there's more, but as a back end to Super Mario Bros., it's definitely a fun experience. I think if the technology would have allowed for it, these two games would have been perfect as a package, I guess, where after you beat Super Mario Bros., the quest 2 was the Lost Levels, but it's not, so it's definitely lost some points there. It's crazy difficult. When I did play it, I had to use my Wii U so I could have save states. So I'm not a real man, I guess. I'm more of a virgin for playing it like that. But overall, definitely still a fun experience. If anything, maybe if the difficulty was a little lower, I'd probably go above Super Mario Bros., I think, just because the graphics look a little better. Of course, that's just kind of a placebo because it still had to use the 8x8 tile set. So really, they just changed graphics like a ROM hack at the levels. In fact, some levels are from Versus Super Mario Bros., which I also like. It's pretty fun. Some levels are stolen straight out of that. Or no, it's the other way around. Lost levels stole levels from that. Then next is the real Super Mario Bros. 2, which was also a glorified ROM hack, really, technically. If you go back to the roots of this game, it was meant to be a Mario game, but they couldn't get the, I forget what you call up and down scrolling. But they originally intended for it to be a Mario game, but they couldn't get the, I think parallax scrolling is what it's called, to work. And then, whatever, the TV company came and was like, hey, make a game for us. And they're like, okay. And then Howard Phillip played the Lost Levels because that was intended to be the next sequel, and he was like, no, it's too hard. So then they just reskinned Doki Doki Panic into Mario 2. I definitely think it's a better experience than both Super Mario Bros. And the Lost Levels. Next is Super Mario Bros. 3. Definitely A tier so far. I'll probably either move it up or down, but it's just like the pinnacle of NES Mario games. Just all the stuff that it adds, just so many power-ups, the secrets are fun too, like finding the warp whistles. It's just a good game. Although I would say that the difficulty curve is definitely a bit extreme. Mario Land better than Mario Bros. Mario Land is more of a Mario game than Mario Bros. Mario Bros. Would be more of a spin-off today, I guess, but Mario Land, it's just difficult to play through. The physics are weird. It's a super quick game to play through, for that matter, and the only lasting effect it had on the Mario series was that it got a power up in Mario Maker 2, and it just added Princess Daisy, which can either be a plus or a minus for some people. But anyway, Super Mario World, I like this game more than 3. And here's why. It's just a nice game to sit and play through. I've beat it quite a few times, 100%. Next is Super Mario Land 2. I definitely think this goes in high B. I don't think it's quite an A tier, because it's definitely not close to the pinnacle of the Mario platformer or 2D platformer series. Well, it's just a fun game. It's once again a pretty short playthrough, but it added the bunny suit and a lot of other stuff that isn't necessarily main lasting, except for Wario. So maybe in terms of additions, it's at odds with Super Mario World, but in everything else, just the large sprites and space of the Game Boy screen, it's just kind of, it's aged fairly well for a Game Boy game. It's just definitely not something that I'll go back and play again and again. So next is Yoshi's Island. This never was my favorite game. The art style and the music are great, don't get me wrong. I just don't like it that much. And I don't know why. I just can never really get behind it that well. Next up is Super Mario 64. I've beat this game quite a bit just because of the replay value, that and all the speedrunning strats that you can attempt to do. I can only really do the MIPS, door clip, and then all the backwards long jumps that come after that, But yeah, it's definitely a great game. However, all that energy that they did use to create 64 definitely could have gone into Sunshine, I think, which I'm going to put in a low A. And, it's just because the FLUDD is a bit finicky to control and it takes getting used to. And then all the shines, they're just, a lot of them are difficult to get. So next is Super Mario 64 DS. Definitely gonna have to do some rearranging. So I think 3 and World go into S tier now that we're further into the list. I just think Mario 64, despite, having the finicky controls with the D-pad, and even when playing on the 3DS, it still uses only the 8 directions. Even though it's largely the same game as Super Mario 64, the multiple characters and like the new stages and stars definitely make it more of a fun experience to me. The next game in the chronological order is New Super Mario Bros. This is definitely, I think, a fun experience. I think it's better than Super Mario 64. And that's definitely a controversial statement. The difficulty curve is nice. I beat this game quite a bit. New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I think this game is better just because of the multiplayer experience. I think the multiplayer experience carries Wii. If Wii was just a single player game and was designed the same way for some reason, I think it would definitely go below New Super Mario Bros. And possibly only barely be above Land, or Super Mario Land 2 specifically. It's just, but the multiplayer is just so much fun. Like, if you've never played New Super Mario Bros. Wii multiplayer, you're missing out. Next is Super Mario Galaxy 2, S tier. It's an amazing game, which probably tells a lot for where I'd rank Mario Galaxy. Now, I haven't played Mario Galaxy at all, even though I have Super Mario 3D All-Stars. But, man, I have Mario Galaxy on the Wii, or 2 on the Wii. A divine experience. It's so polished, just a fun game. Just probably one of the highest below DS. I think it's definitely top S tier, the best 3D Mario game. And you might say, what about Odyssey? We'll get to that later, and my gripes with it. So New Super Mario Bros. 2, C tier. I have this game on the 3DS. In fact, I don't even technically have a 3DS. I have a 2DS that came bundled with that game. It just doesn't have like any difficulty curve pretty much. I sat down and beat it in like 3 hours. So next is New Super Mario Bros. U. Now, I like this game a lot. I definitely think it's better than the first one, but not as good as Wii. And here's why. It's an easy game, don't get me wrong, but the interconnected map is pretty cool. The Acorn suit's fun. It just sucks that they couldn't add the propeller suit, or penguin suit even for that matter, in more levels, because they're in the game. and the item management kind of sucks. It's more like 3, which it's definitely more difficult to get a lot of items. So next to Super Mario 3D Land, it's kind of monotonous, you know, just because of how small the levels are. There's not much to do in them, except for get the, I don't know what they're called, but they're like star coins. Definitely not the greatest Mario experience. I think it's not slightly, I think it's higher than Mario Land 2. So, New Super Mario or New Super Luigi U, it's better than New Super Mario Bros. U, and I think that was expected. It's just the difficulty is much more nice on it. I think it's better than Wii, for that matter, in terms of difficulty. You know, Saw's multiplayer, a definite advantage for people who have Nabbit, for sure, but it's a fun game. New Super Mario 3D World.
Bro, does this man even play Mario games? He called Mario 3D World New Super Mario 3D World LMAO. This guy needs to touch grass LMAO.
I like this game, and I've said that for pretty much all the games past Land. It's just hard to rank it, because it's a fun experience, and I think it's better than U, but I don't think it's quite on the level. Well, no, actually, I think I feel confident putting in bottom S tier. Next is Super Mario Maker. The first Mario Maker is a good game. It's just that the troll levels on the Wii U are just too much to handle sometimes. But all that was on like the main page was just troll levels and stuff, and you couldn't filter levels out very well. I mean, you could, but you couldn't filter them out very well. Yeah, and there was no rating system, I don't think. But yeah, just a good game for making. Definitely not in terms of online though. So Super Mario Run. We're at the end of the tier list. Mario Odyssey. Don't think it goes in S tier. Now, the base game is great. I think it's better than probably those, but it doesn't belong in S tier. Just because of the end game. So, once you beat, like the really difficult Dark Side of the Moon, I think it's called, there's not really much to do after that. You know, get all the moons. You know, there's just not much substance to those moons. There's a lot of copy and pasting of moons that you've done before. And now Super Mario Maker 2, I believe, is an S tier game. The levels online are much better. The making experience is a bit hindered because of the, you know, especially if you're playing on TV, but still a fun game. Potential is way greater than in the first one. You know, you can play as all the 4-player characters, and it's good Mario Maker. So, I'll see you next time. I'm checking out. You know, I'm gonna get my bread check. Bye.